Yo, what is going on, everybody? You have Tone here, back after a pretty long hiatus, about 3 weeks or so between the last video I did and this one. So, yeah, so to summarize, I think as I've said a bit in the last video I uploaded like about 3 weeks or so ago, still having some in-real-life issues to deal with, but I at the very least want to try to keep my channel updated. Because it has been a while since I posted anything video wise, and I wanted to change that, try to get back into things as the summer goes along. And while I do have my personal issues to deal with within my family, I at the very least wanted to try to get to show some of the matches I was able to play in between during my little hiatus, quote unquote, from uploading videos. So what I want to be doing here for this video is pretty much going through my CPC games for weeks 1 through 5, essentially the first half of the entire season for season 8 of the CPC. I'm going to just go through that as best I possibly could, my best I possibly can, excuse me, while still trying to provide some insight into my plays. Now, some plays I won't remember because some of these matches it took place a while ago, so some of the battles, some of my thought process probably is not going to be it's not going to be in the right frame of mind, but at the very least, as I mentioned, it's something I just wanted to have up and put up on my channel for you guys to see. So it says it has been a while since I did anything CPC related. Just to quickly run down the team that I drafted for Season 8 of the CPC, my team consists of the Tapu Lele with no Z moves, Ferrothorn, Gliscor, Volcanion, Goodra, Gengar, Hawlucha, Electros, Durant, Musharna, and Mega Tyranitar. And for sake of for all intents and purposes, I also have a Vigoroth on my team because I had 1 point left over in my draft so I had to take it and picked up Vigoroth. Spoiler, it's not going to show up in any of these games, so don't hold your breath when you're looking to see Vigoroth in these matches. So, as I mentioned, I'm just going to quickly run through the first 5 weeks of the CPC season. And to start it off, week number 1, here we are taking on Mew's the best, coach of the Kentucky Fried Dragons. Has a very scary powerhouse team, stuff like the Mega Scizor. Tapu Fini has Hitmonlee take advantage of the misty terrain with Unburden. The Crosma can be a bit of a nuisance depending on what his set is. You also see with the Licky. He also had some other stuff in the back like the Thunderous Therian, which was something I thought would 100% come in this matchup because Andrew's entire team, he has no ground type. Like, his electric immunity is the Thunderous Therian, so not seeing the Thunderous was very, very surprising. But nonetheless, I did prep as though he did try to bring it. I did try my best in all these games. So just to quickly run down the sets that I brought for this game. First up, my Mega Tyranitar is a Rock Polish variant with, I believe, Dual Stab and Fire Punch, because he also had a Virizion as well. And I wanted to hit that thing with a Fire Punch because it can take Tyranitar's Dual Stab quite well. Then I have a sub 3 attacks Ghostium Z, Gengar and Durant. I don't think I mentioned Durant was also on my draft. So yeah, Gengar and Durant are my Z-Mons. And then for Andrew, I don't remember off the top of my head. Like I said, it has been a while. So Gengar is sub 3 attacks Ghostium Z with Shadow Ball, Sludge Bomb, and Hidden Power Fire for the Mega Scizor. Then I have, I think, just a very straightforward standard Rocks Gliscor with EQ Roost and U-Turn. Yeah. And then I have a bulky Calm Mind Tapu Lele with Psyshock, Draining Kiss, and HP Fire. Then I have a very standard Hawlucha with Stone Edge, which allows me to deal with the Thunderous Therian. And then lastly is my Assault Vest Electros with Rock Slide for the Thundy T, so I can 2 KO that thing if he had brought it. So as you see, my opponent decided to bring the Mega Scizor, Excelgor, Tapu Fini, Hitmonlee, Necrozma, and the Licky, and I knew right off the bat that my end game was to try to weaken his bulkier mons, specifically stuff like the Necrozma, which can definitely take a hit from my Hawlucha pretty easily. But I do feel like I have the matchup in my favor if I am able to chip down the Necrozma, chip down the Licky, not really Licky, but mostly the Scizor, which I do feel like I have the team to do, because I also have I have a good amount of coverage for the Scizor on my entire draft. Like, I think half my team at least has fire coverage for that Scizor. But in the very case, since he did not bring the Thundurus Therian, I felt like Electros was my best option because of the fact that since he has no ground type, I freely Volt Switch on his entire team, pretty freely, and Electros isn't really doing anything in this matchup because of the fact that he did not bring the Thundurus. So I'm just going to lead off with my Electros here. He did opt to lead off with the Mega Scizor. I'm just going to stay and go for a Flamethrower here. He is going to U-turn out, do 39. U-turn out into his Licky. As I go for the Flamethrower here, now I'm just going to fire off a Volt Switch. He's going to go for the knock off my Assault Vest. I don't really care, so I'm going to get the slow Volt Switch out into my Gliscor to activate my Toxicroak. And I believe this time I'm just going to get out my Rocks as he goes out into his Tapu Fini. Yeah, so I believe I now go hard to my Electros, sack that thing off. I'm just going to go fire off a Default here. So now I'm just going to go for another Volt Switch as he does go back into Licky, and I believe I go into my T-Tar this time because I feel like if I'm able to just get off his Stone Edge here, knock this thing out, it's one less thing for my Lele to worry about. But he's going to make the hard aggressive play into his Hitmonlee to activate his Misty Seed. As you see that Stone Edge did 59 to this Hitmonlee, but I'm just going to sack off my Electros here to the close combat. I could have gone directly out into my Gliscor to take this hit, but I'd rather let Electros go down because, like I mentioned, I don't really need Electros in this game considering there's no Thundurus Therian on my opponent's side of the field, and getting the free switch into Electros into my Gliscor, at full health, better allowed me to deal with this threat. And the fact of the matter is, he also does not have the fact that he didn't bring Thundurus means that he doesn't have a EQ resist at all. So I'd rather just sack off my Electros, get the free switch into my Gliscor, click EQ, all that good stuff. So that goes my Electros here. I'm going to go out into my Gliscor. He's just going to go for the knock off my Toxicroak, which is fine. I'm going to EQ, knock out the Hitmonlee. In comes the Tapu Fini, I believe. Yeah. So he goes back out to Tapu Fini, and he is then going to just go for a Surf, which I am going to live. I'm going to get the slow U-turn out into my Gengar here, as I know I could force this thing out with a Sludge Bomb. So predicting him to switch out, I am going to go for the sub here. And I'm going to fire off an HP Fire as he goes for a Bullet Punch to break my sub. Does a good chunk to this thing, but now I'm going to go out to my Tapu Lele as he is going to go for another Bullet Punch here, which is going to get nullified. And I'm going to I believe I doubled out, I think I made this play, the double out into my Gliscor here, because I expected him to go out into his, I believe he tried, I think, my thought process is he was going to go out into Licky, and I wanted to at least try to 2 KO that thing, either that or go out into his Necrozma. So, and I figured if he did one of those, if he went out to one of those 2 months, I could try to get up Rocks again, but at the very least, he is going to make the double out of Tapu Fini, probably just get rid of my my second terrain here. So I'm just going to let my Gliscor go down here. I don't really need Rocks that badly in this matchup, as it only really chips away at the Excelgor, and if I'm able to activate my Psychic Seed on my Hawlucha, it's not really a problem. So I'm going to let my Gliscor go down here because, like, I can still check the Scizor with a multi of my other mons. So down goes my Gliscor, in comes my Lele here to get back up the second terrain, as he is going to go out into his Licky here, and I'm going to Calm Mind here, expecting him to try to preserve it to get rid of my terrain. I now for the Side Shock, take out the Tapu Lele, so down goes Licky, in comes the Fini again. I just go for another Side Shock here. He's going to go for a Nature's Madness, bring me down to half health. And I'm going to fire off another Side Shock here, as he's going to bring, I almost knock him out, as he unfortunately misses Nature's Madness this turn, which kind of sucks. but I'm gonna hidden power fire here in case you want to make an aggressive switch out into a sizzle. But it comes to make a sizzle now. I'm just gonna go out into my Gengar here as he's just gonna fire for bullet punch. I am gonna get the cursed body to nullify his bullet punch again, and now I'm gonna fire off I'm gonna go for my Z here because basically me going for my Z here, it covered him making the aggressive play into his Necrozma. I could potentially knock that thing out if he's not a bulky variant of Necrozma, which I'm still expecting it to be, but if he's like a weakness policy bulky set, he can't outspeed me afterwards because I am naturally faster and he doesn't have an autonomized boost, nothing along those lines. So me firing off my Z move was a no drawback play, especially considering the Licky was gone. So I'm gonna fire off. I get a crit, which didn't matter in the slides because it was already at 39%. And yeah, so all I need to do now is just chip away at the Necrozma here. My Hawlucha does look fantastic in the end game. So he's gonna go out into his Excelgor here, and I'm just going to go out into my Tapu Lele and sack that thing off to get the second terrain up. As he goes for a Bug Buzz, revealing he is Life Orb. And I'm just going to sack off my Tapu Lele here to a Bug Buzz to get in my Hawlucha, activate my second C, get my Unburden boost, and he's gonna make a hard switch out into Necrozma, and he's gonna take half from the acrobatics. So this is definitely telling me this is a offensive Necrozma 100%, because defensive Necrozma would never have taken 50% from an unboosted Adamant Hawlucha's acrobatics whatsoever. So seeing the damage as doing 50, I figured, okay, just go for another acrobatics here. I could still win in the end with my Gengar if I'm able to get rid of the Excelgor, and if I get the same roll, which I end up doing with the second acrobatics, I can now just clean up the game with my Hawlucha, pick off the Excelgor and then the Necrozma. We're going to come away with week 1 with a nice 3-0 win over Muse the Best and his Kentucky Fried Dragon. So yeah, that was a really fun game. All things considered, I'm still a little bit surprised he didn't bring the Thunders, but it is what it is. I feel like I played the end game pretty well with getting my situation up with the Hawlucha. I also did benefit from the fact that he did not have his Necrozma was more of an offensive variant, and I was able to chip down stuff like Mega Scizor pretty handily with my Mon. So I'm really happy with the way how I played this game. So with that all being said, I'm now just going to move over to my week 2 game. So here we go. Alright guys, so here we are with my week 2 game against Risepool and his Rhine Valley Guardians. And as you notice, on my side of the field, I am rocking a couple of different Mons here. Heading into this game, I did make some transactions. I ended up dropping Volcanion, and I ended up dropping Goodra, and in exchange I picked up Emboar and Milotic, which ended up coming to this game. And quite frankly, this was one of the more harder matchups of the entire season so early on for me, especially considering that Risepool was such an exceptional battler, builder, and draft league play overall, especially considering that his team is just chock full of threats. You see the 6 he brought. He has the Keldeo, the Garchomp, Weavile, Slowbro, the Torrentee, and the Mega Gardevoir. And he also has some other stuff in the back that I was kind of afraid of, like the Magneton, which explains some of my prep in this game. Although, to be fair, like, I think 2 of the sets were kind of what's the word I'm looking for? It was kind of like I just threw it together for the sake of putting it together. Like, I just couldn't think of any other specific EV spreads or whatnot, so I just left it a certain way. But in any case, the team I ended up bringing for this game, the Gengar was pretty much the same set as my week 1 game. The only exception being I have Dazzling Gleam over Hidden Power Fire. Everything else is pretty much the same, sub 3 attacks. My Emboar is Adamant Choice Band because the speed tiers in this matchup was either Emboar was either going to outspeed his bulkier stuff or be outsped by everything else, which was the case in this matchup. I think I only put like a tiny bit of speed for, like, I believe on Invested Magneton. That's really it. Tapu Lele is the same set as last week, I think, with like Shadow Ball over HP Fire. Ferrothorn is Spadef with Shed Shell in case he tried to trap me with the Magneton. And it's like my Stealth Rocker with like Leech Seed Gyro Ball knockoff. Or power, I think it's Gyro Power Whip, I believe. My Milotic is Fizdef, Scald, Ice Beam, Toxic Recover, and Hawlucha is just straightforward Hawlucha, SD, Acro. I think it's Drain Punch in this game, and I think the fourth move is Roost, I want to say. It definitely wasn't Substitute because he has a Mega Gardevoir, so it doesn't make any sense for me to be sub against the Mega Gardevoir, so that wouldn't make any sense. I think I was, actually, or I never clicked it. One of those two things. But in any case here, my game plan was still essentially the same in terms of trying to weaken down his bulkiest stuff, and I think the main issue with this was trying to weaken the Slowbro, because that's pretty much the main thing preventing my Hawlucha from winning this game outright, is the fact that Slowbro, and to an extent, a bulkier Garchomp would also be a hindrance to my Hawlucha, just taking that rough skin damage, unnecessary rough skin damage at that, chipping it down even further in this matchup. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to end up leading off with my Ferrothorn, because I figured rocks would be beneficial for me to chip down at the Tornadus, even though I felt like 20 was like the most obvious lead in like the entire game, but I was like, I didn't really have any other better play. And mainly because of the fact that I needed Ferrothorn to check the Gardevoir, but I didn't really need it that much in this matchup, because considering what he has, Keldeo, Secret Sword through it, Slowbro, if he was that worried, he could back Fire Blast. The Garchomp could have Fire Blast. The Weavile could have like SD Low Kick. So he wasn't too worried about Ferrothorn, and for the record, I wasn't worried about me losing my Ferrothorn. As long as I kept my Gengar around to offensively check the Gardevoir, I was totally fine with just trading away my Ferrothorn in the early stages. As long as I kept my Gengar around, and as long as I'm able to make the right pivots into my Emboar, I can click Banded Flare Blitz at will, even though he does have a Slowbro. But like I said, I didn't really feel like I really feel like trying to preserve anything in this matchup here. So like I said, I'm going to lead off with my Ferrothorn here, as I've already talked on too long about the matchup here. He's going to lead off with his Torn here, and right away, turn 1, he misses Heat Wave. This turn 1 miss was actually pretty crucial, and you'll see why in a minute, because I went for Stealth Rock here, as I'm not Huckleberry on this Ferrothorn, so I still would have been 2 KO'd even though I am max special defense, and I don't know what his item is. I don't even remember what his Z-Mons were. I believe it was either the Tornadus or the Garchomp that was the Z-Mon on his team. I don't remember off the top of my head. But like I said, I just value to try to get up rocks here. If he was Life Orb Heat Wave, I think I still would have lived, but the fact that he missed this Heat Wave turn 1 is actually pretty crucial here. So I get up my rocks here, yes. And he's gonna knock off my my Shed Shell and take Iron Barb's damage. I'm gonna go for the Gyro Ball here, do a good chunk to him. And he's forced to go out into Garchomp here, and this is pretty much what I'm talking about in terms of that Heat Wave miss. So basically, if he did not miss that Heat Wave turn 1, he wouldn't have had to make this play on the Garchomp, because he needed the Garchomp healthy for my Hawlucha. It was one of his 2 stops. It was one of his 2 ways of dealing with my Hawlucha, the other one being the Slowbro. Garchomp was valuable in the sense that it was more so in the sense that not only did it get up rocks, he also could have like spam Dragon Tail over and over again. He put himself in. He probably EV'd the Garchomp to like live on boosted Acro or High Jump Kick, Dragon Tail me out, and make me lose my boost and my Unburden boost, all that stuff. So yeah, this was a very bad exchange on my opponent's part because of what happened turn 1. And I think I'm just going to end up just staying in and like sacking off my Ferrothorn, because I already got up my rocks and I didn't really care about anything else. I didn't really feel like switching in stuff like something like my Milotic into this thing, because like I figured just trying to get on the offensive momentum in this particular situation because of what happened earlier. Benefited me more trying to take advantage of what happened. So I believe I just stayed in gyro ball again. He's gonna get up his rocks here, so I'm actually gonna go for the gyro ball. Don't knock him out here, but he's just gonna go for the Z move for the Z Tectonic Rage, knock out my Ferrothorn. But it's allowed me to go out into my Gengar. I'm gonna click Dazzling Gleam to kill off the Garchomp. And he's going to go out into his Torn here, and I believe I go out into my Milotic here, and I believe he goes for a U-turn. No, he knocks off my my lefties. He's going to U-turn here. He's going to make the aggressive play out to his Gardevoir, and I click Toxic. Here, I miss, but this was a very good bounce back play by Risepool because he knows for a fact that my Milotic does not pressure him whatsoever in this matchup, because I went for Toxic here hoping he would go out into Slowbro, but he knows how valuable Slowbro is now that the Garchomp is down, because if I'm able to get the Toxic off on the Slowbro, that means he's whittling his last ditch check to my Hawlucha, as I mentioned, and he really needed to keep that thing at full HP. So making the offensive play into his Mega Gardevoir was the better play because of the fact that he can now pressure my team offensively while not having to worry about taking any residual or taking any hard-hitting damage from my team. So I believe I go for I think I go for Scald here. He goes for Calm Mind here, and the reason why I went for Scald was mainly because of the fact that if he was a substitute variant of Mega Gardevoir, I wanted to at least try to break the sub before he started setting up Calm Mind. And if he got behind a sub and he was Calm Mind, I actually just auto lost right then and there, and I tried to prevent that as much as I possibly could. I couldn't risk going hard Gengar because he could have just attacked me with a Psychic move, because I didn't remember my Mega T-Tar. Psychic or Psyshock was very, very spammable against my team regardless, and I didn't want to take that risk. So now I'm just going to let my Milotic go down into the Hyper Voice, and now I'm going to go out into my Gengar. And seeing as though that this Gardevoir was already at +1, and I'm thinking that my Sludge Bomb is not going to kill this Gardevoir at +1 Spadef, I'm just gonna fire off my Z move because this Mega Gardevoir was actually a pretty big threat, especially considering it's already set up a Calm Mind here. But as I'm gonna go for the Z move here, he's actually going to end up revealing the Protect. So that was a very good bring on his part to protect, to scout from my Z move on my Gengar, take nothing from the essentially nothing from that from the Shadow Ball, but because of the damage it took from prior, it was still in range to where Sludge Bomb was able to knock out my my Gengar, knock out the Gardevoir here. But because of this, he does get the free switch out into his Weavile, and at here I really can't do anything about it. So I'm just going to stay and go for Dazzling Gleam. He's just going to Pursuit here and knock me out. I end up getting the Disable on the Kurt's Body on the Weavile here. So I'm going to my Emboar. He's basically forced to sack him on here. He's going to end up sacking off his... He sacks off his Torn here, and this is the other thing that came into play, was the fact that of the Garchomp taking the damage. Because the Garchomp is down, Wild Charge was exceptionally free against his entire team, because Wild Charge the Torn, Wild Charge the Slowbro, Wild Charge the Keldeo, and Weavile dies a Wild Charge after coming back in on Stealth Rock. So that was a very, very unfortunate mishap in terms of on Risepool's part, and he's going to sack off the Torn here, go out into his Slowbro, and he's going to take the Wild Charge and actually die to the Wild Charge. I think, from what I remember from this exchange, was the fact that if he was, I believe he EV'd the Slowbro to live that hit, and I believe I got a high roll on that Wild Charge damage. I believe that was the what happened during that exchange there. So yeah, that was very unfortunate, and to add insult to injury, he's gonna go Keldeo and miss Hydro Pump on my Emboar. So yeah, that didn't really help in the end of the game, especially considering that, like, his last one Weavile isn't even gonna knock me out with knockoff with he's not going to knock me out with knockoff, and I get another kill with my Embor. Embor drops the recoil, and yeah, that was a very that wasn't a really fun game, especially considering that all the hacks that benefited me. The like I said, the heat wave miss, which forced the guard chomp in sooner to take that damage from my Ferrothorn, and then he had to sack it off to my Gengar, and then on top of that, I'm pretty sure that roll on the Slowbro with the wild charge mattered, or else he wouldn't have made that play. I think he would have just gone out into Keldeo first. Like, if he didn't know that Slowbro would take the hit, which definitely would have if he was like fully invested, but it turned out afterwards that he was Assault Vest Slowbro with Iron Tail for my Lele, and he EV'd it in a specific way that he would specifically have lived that hit even after rocks. And unfortunately, I ended up getting a high roll with the wild charge, and yeah, it really sucked. That it sucked the fun out of that game because of the fact of all the hacks that I got in my favor, and he got nothing to go for him in his favor. Like I said, the heat wave miss, the force to go guard chomp and end up sacking that, which allowed my Embor to just spam wild charge, and then he lived his Slowbro not living the wild charge, and then he missed Hydro Pump on the Keldeo just to add insult to injury. So yeah, like I said, I really didn't enjoy this one. Like, I won, but it's not the way I wanted to win, especially considering that the end game Slowbro actually would just won, because there was no way my Hawlucha would be able to set up an SD without dying to Psychic under Psychic Terrain 1, and Lele would have died to Iron Tail, I believe. Well, he gets to a KO by Iron Tail, straight up by his Slowbro. So yeah, like last month's Slowbro actually would have won, regardless. Like, even without the hacks, like last month's Slowbro would have won this game, and it's just very unfortunate that the hacks played such a factor that it didn't even come into play because of everything that went against Rise Pool. So hopefully the next time I play Rise Pool, it'll be a lot more of a cleaner match in that regard. But nonetheless, I'm going to move on. We're going to move on to week number 3. Alright, so here's my week 3 game. We're taking on Will and his San Antonio Sparse, and he has a very, very scary obsessional team. You see, he has the Lando Eye, which is Sheer Force, Scolipede, an immense threat, and he also has some other stuff like I don't remember off the top of my head. He had like a bunch of like potent offensive mons, and even the Mega Medicham. I think he had Mega Medicham on this team. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, his team was just chock full of offensive threats, like straight up. And he also had, I believe he also had Comfy on this team, and the main thing to take away from this matchup was the first and foremost the fact that he did not bring Comfy in this game. So basically, just looking at it from a matchup standpoint, his response to Hawlucha was literally just Sneasel, or if the Decidueye is Cobra Berry, it can live in acrobatics, and then I don't know what it would do afterwards, but definitely not seeing Comfey was like the biggest surprise for me, just because of the fact that if my Hawlucha was set up, he would have at least had something to stop boosted Hawlucha from just like winning in the end game. And yeah, that really surprised me. But as for my team that I brought for this matchup, I believe my Embor was like sub 3 attacks. Because basically Embor behind a sub, he does not do well against. Just looking at the mons that he brought here, the Heatran dice, like, gets to a KO by low kick. I have Wild Charge for the Starmie, Flare Blitz, it's Flare Blitz, and then, like I mentioned, Ember behind a substitute, he does not appreciate whatsoever. My Gengar is Choice Specs with Dual Stab, Dazzling Gleam, and Trick. My Lele is Calm Mind 3 attacks with HP ground for the Heatran. My Ferrothorn, I believe, was Spadef with Akaberry to deal with his. It was my Comfey switching, which didn't end up coming. The Hawlucha is sub SD with Acrobatics and Drain Punch, and then the last mon is pretty much the debut of Durant, and Durant is my Scolipede switching. It's physically defensive with Thunder Wave, Dual Stab, and Superpower for the Heatran, and it's Steelium Z. I figured that having, I believe the main reason why I went Durant over like my low tick was the fact that it was a Scolipede response that still had a means of outspeeding stuff like the Heatran. I believe it's enough speed to it outspeeds Heatran for sure. I know that for a fact, but this was the best thing I had in terms of a Scolipede response because everything else on my team just got bopped by coverage. Or if not, the combination of Mega Horn, Poison Jab. I mean, he needed quite a bit of like moves, but considering his team composition, I felt like he had the necessary tools on his team that Scolipede didn't really need much in terms of coverage. Like, he had the Heatran for my Ferrothorn and my Durant. He had the Landorus for pretty much everything else. So yeah. So heading into my lead matchup in this game, I ended up leading off with Emboar, because I felt like Emboar had the best chance of leading. It had the best chance against like half his mons. Well, at least 2/3 if you include the Sneasel, but nonetheless. I'm going to lead off with my Emboar here, as he's actually going to end up leading off with his Heatran, which was a fantastic lead for me. And I debated this was a 50-50 on my part turn 1, because I easily could just click low kick here to a KO the Heatran, but I really wanted to click substitute as well. But I stuck with my safe play, gone for the low kick, as he's going to make the play out into his Landorus. I low kick and do 25. So yeah, about this play. So I had to see by my team, I don't have my Landorus switching literally does not exist. Even though I have a Spadef Ferrothorn, it gets 2 a KO by life. I believe it gets 2 a KO by life or Earth Power from Landorus, and I believe he wanted to make the prediction of me going out into my Ferrothorn right away, and it ended up backfiring for him, as he's going to go for the hidden power of fire and do 15, and I'm just going to stay in, go for Flare Blitz, as I end up working out for me, because I go for Flare Blitz here, he reveals his Life Orb, we knock out the Landorus with the Flare Blitz, and that ended up working out a lot better than I had hoped, because like I mentioned, I had no response to Landorus on this team whatsoever. I could not risk going into Ferrothorn, because I needed Ferrothorn to check the Starmie. That was the other reason why I was Spadef. It was mainly for the Starmie, because Starmie just goes in against this particular team because it kills Gengar with Psychic, kills my Emboar with Hydro Pump, Ferrothorn HP Fire, Durant HP Fire, 2 KOs my Lele with Hydro Pump. So yeah, my best bet was just literally offensively checking with Hawlucha here. So he's going to lose his Landorus, and he is going to now go out into his Starmie, and here was another situation of, wait, I have two choices here. I can either let my Emboar go down this turn and go for the Wild Charge, or I go out into my Ferrothorn, as I mentioned, because it is Spadef. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to make the safe play, go into my Ferrothorn. He clicks HP Fire here, he crits me, but all in all, I really felt like at this point like, I didn't really feel like he needed to predict so early on in the match, because of the fact that, like, Landorus destroyed this destroyed my team, and he really didn't need to. This is just my own personal opinion. This is nothing against Will at all, but I really didn't feel like he needed to predict turn 2 and turn 3 for me to go out into my Ferrothorn. It ended up working this time, but only because of the fact that I still felt that Embor had a use in this game, mainly in switching in and checking the Sneasel, because my Embor is max HP. So I'll make the play and just sack off my Ferrothorn here to the HP Flyer, and then I'm going to go out into my Tapu Lele, get up the second terrain, and I believe he's going to make the play out into his Heatran, and I'm just going to Calm Mind up. Get the +1, fire off an HP ground, do 69 to this thing. He's just going to Magma Storm, do 26 to me, and I believe I'm just going to go for another HP ground here as he goes back out into Starmie here. Do 44 to that, and I believe I go for a Draining Kiss here as he goes for Hydro Pump. That's a good amount, but not enough to knock me out. I Draining Kiss, get some HP back. I'm going to sack off my Embor here, as he's going to end up unfortunately missing a Hydro Pump this turn. As mainly I made this play because Psychic Terrain was ending, and I needed to just have a sack in this instance for the for my Hawlucha. So he's going to Hydro Pump here. This time he's going to miss. I think he revealed that he said it was Scarf, or I think he said it was Specs, actually. Specs. So now it's a little bit unfortunate. I think Life Orb 3 attacks would probably have been just as well. But I'm going to go out into my Durant here on the Scolipede, as he is just going to go for the Poison Jab. Now he's going to fire off the All-Out Pummeling, and you're going to see it do 49. I'm going to click Thunder Wave here. I actually land the Thunder Wave, and I'm just going to fire off, and I'm going to fire off my Z move here on the incoming Decidueye and knock this thing out. And yeah, this was this is unboosted, uninvested Durant's Z Iron Head and killing the Decidueye. So I mean, not really that. I don't think it really made that much of a difference in that matter. But Durant is going to pick up its first kill of the season, and it's still useful for checking the Scolipede. So with the Decidueye out the way now, he's now going out into his Heatran. I am just going to go for Superpower. Unfortunately, I'm going to miss, but he also misses Magma Storm. As he is now going to go out into his Scolipede. I missed Superpower again, so not really hustling in this game, but I do land an Iron Head here on the Scolipede, as he's going to end up getting paralyzed. I hit another Iron Head, knocked out the Scolipede. In comes the Sneasel here. He's going to make a double out into his Heatran on my Iron Head. I actually don't even know why I did not Superpower that turn, because his last 2 months of fighting, I don't really think I was paying that much attention in this game during the end game here, because at this point my Hawlucha just wins, because of the point that I just get up my second terrain, Drain Punch this and Drain Punch this Sneasel. Ice Charge won't kill me. So yeah, that's pretty much going to be it here. I'm going to sack off my Gengar here to the Magma Storm as he does 69. I just Shadow Ball, knock out the Heatran. He goes out into his Sneasel. I believe he pursues me. He Ice Shards. Honestly, I could have just gone out into my Lele, but I'm just going to just try to let Durant get the last kill of the match, which ends up happening, and we're going to pick up a 3-0 win on the back of physically defensive Durant picking up 3 kills in that game. So yeah, kind of. So this game was kind of just it kind of just came down to the early game with the Landorus. The Landorus was such a huge problem for my team, as I mentioned, and the fact that he tried to predict my Ferrothorn so early on, like, I felt like Earth Power was super free against my team. I would never go hard Hawlucha on the Landorus, especially considering when your team has no real countermeasure to Sheer Force Life Orb Lando Eye. Like, you can't really like make those plays. You just have to attack what's in front of you, and even if it's resisted, it's Life Orb and Sheer Force. That is going to do a huge chunk of damage, and that ended up working out for me, and me essentially taking advantage of my opponent's aggressiveness in the early game, and it ended up working out for me towards the end. I know I did get lucky with the Thunder Wave parries on the Scolipede, but I did feel as though I had enough in the back regardless. Well, Scolipede might have been a bit more of an issue had the Parahacks not happened, because this was my best bet to take out the Scolipede, and then if I didn't take out Scolipede, then it'd be a bit more problematic because my Hawlucha wouldn't have outsped. So yeah, that's gonna be a 3-0 win for us. So we are now going to move on to week number 4. And here we have week 4 of CPC taking on Zamcro and his Blackmont Right Cougars. Another very, very threatening team I had to play. And yeah, I'm not going to mince words here. This was a very weird game, and you'll see why in a minute. But the main thing to note about my team is mainly the Milotic, and what the Milotic set was just, it was a little less more of a gimmick, and more so, if this works, holy crap, I didn't think it would work. And this basically just comes down to the lead matchup here, because my Milotic is recover 3 attacks, offensive, and it's holding Adrenaline Orb, and it's competitive. So this lead is basically going to come down to, if he leads Landorus, he's going to intimidate my Milotic, he's going to activate my competitive, and then he's going to activate my Adrenaline Orb, since I get a +1 speed boost if I'm intimidated. So essentially speaking, if my lead matchup works against this Landorus, things are going to happen. Let's just put it like that. As for the rest of my team, I believe everything else is pretty much as standard can get, I believe. All things considered, I believe oh boy, I'm trying to remember. I believe my glide score was like EQ Facade. Yeah, it was Roost 3 attacks with Facade, EQ, and U-turn, because of the fact that he had I didn't want a Superior to get free setup, and he also had a Oricorio, which is essentially his Hawlucha response, and that's the Oricorio is the reason why my Hawlucha has Stone Edge, because of the fact that it's the only flying resist on his team that can take high jump kicks, so that's why I have Stone Edge on my Hawlucha. Aside from that, everything else is pretty straightforward. My Gengar is Choice Scarf, if I recall correctly, with Dual Stab, Psychic, and Focus Blast. And my Mega Tyranitar, I believe, is just a bulky Stealth Rock 3 attack set, if I can remember this correctly. So yeah, as I mentioned before, my lead matchup is basically just going to come down to, I'm going to lead off with my Milotic and basically just pray. Well, not really pray, but this is just going off the assumption of him leading off with the Landorus. If he leads off with his Landorus, then like I mentioned, he's going to activate my Adrenaline Orb, activate my competitive. I'm at +1 speed, +2 special attack. This is his only Stealth Rocker on the team he brought, so I'm assuming it's not, unless he's like Scarf Rocks, but I don't think it will be. So I'm going to leave on my Milotic here, expecting him to lead off with the Landorus, hopefully expecting me to lead off with my T-Tar. And as you're going to see, I lead my Milotic, he leads Landorus, and he activates my competitive and pops my Adrenaline Orb. I did not think this turn 1 would actually work out as well as it did, especially considering the team that he brought, especially considering he also brought the Electro, which definitely means that he's going for setup spam against my team, which does make sense because my team is pretty bulky and pretty easy to take advantage of with setup mons like DD Zardex, Sub Leaf Storm, Superior, Calm Mind, Oricorio Pom Pom, stuff like that. So yeah, the fact that I got this lead matchup right, and I'm already at threat with an offensive Milotic staring him down. My play turn 1, I'm just gonna click Surf, because like I said, I lose nothing by clicking Surf here. There's no reason for me to click Ice Beam. He's gonna make the play out to his Tentacruel here, does 31 damage. Now I'm going to Dragon Pulse here, and I have Dragon Pulse for the Zardex. He's going to Sludge Wave and do 21 to me. I Dragon Pulse again, kill the Tentacruel. So that's 1 Mon down. In comes the Electrode. He's going to throw up a Light Screen. I go for Surf, I did 56. He goes for the Reflect. I Surf again, kill the Electrode, Down it goes. In comes Superior, and here I'm thinking, okay, I'm already set up. I could have gone out. I mean, I could have made an aggressive play into my Gengar, but considering I already have the competitive boost and my Adrenaline Orb activated, I'm not going to get another chance to outspeed this thing because of the consumption. And I'm like, okay, just go for Ice Beam here, get some damage off on the Superior. It won't kill because of the light screen, but nonetheless, damage is damage. And as you're going to see, I do 60 to this thing, and he's unfortunately going to miss Leaf Storm on my Milotic, and he's actually just going to end up forfeiting the game here. So what happened? So this was a very like, it happened so fast, and considering the Leaf Storm actually, after looking through the calcs, it turns out that it actually would not have killed, first and foremost, but at the very least would have put my Milotic in range of the Oricorio, because he had Revelation Dance on the Oricorio, which makes sense because of the fact that I have a Hawlucha and all that stuff. So the Leaf Storm miss mattered immensely, and he ended up forfeiting because of the fact that I essentially would have just killed the Superior. I killed Landorus with Ice Beam. He would have gave me another competitive boost. I also revealed Dragon Pulse too, but I don't think. Sorry about that. It was just a very rough game. The Leaf Storm miss like really did him in because of the fact that, like, it's not really the fact that he didn't really have to forfeit, but considering the fact that he was staring down on my Milotic that was at +2/+1, and nothing on his team that he had could kill my Milotic at 79%. It pretty much rendered the game like null right then and there, if only because of the fact that the Leaf Storm miss did happen. And it's essentially going to end up being a 6-0 win in my favor because of this. So yeah, not really the way I expected this battle to go down. I was just banking on a lead matchup that I really didn't think would happen, and it did happen, and then this happened. So I can't really put into words like this whole sequence of events that transpired in these 6 turns because of that Leaf Storm miss. Like, not really the way I wanted to win that game. Like, I had outs, like I had ways of dealing with the rest of his team, although to be honest, Zardex behind screens and I have no way of getting rid of him. My best bet is hopefully living a hit with my T-Tar and EQing or Stone Edging and getting a crit through the Reflect. That was pretty much my best bet in that situation. So yeah, nonetheless, not the way I had wanted to win the game, but it is going to end up being recorded as a 6-0 win. Milotic gets all 6 kills in the matchup. So we're going to move on to the 5th and final game of this video. Alright, so here we are, week number 5, taking on my good friend Psychedelic Scizor and his Oakland Azelfs, and as you can see, he has an Aegislash. So yeah, so Tapu Lele Aegislash were allowed for this final Gen 7 season of the CPC, and yeah, he has a very, very stupid, scary team to go along with it. Not only the fact that his offense is so ridiculously scary, with the fact that he has a Manaphy and the Infernape and a Crocodile and Sticky Web support with the Rabombi, the defensive core he has to pair up with Aegislash, the fact that he has the Aegislash, he has a Mega Altaria, he has a Cresselia, he has a Blissey. So yeah, he had fat within straight up offense, and combating both was such a pain in the ass, man. Like, this is one of the matches I hated building for because I was so paranoid about his defense, And the fact of the matter is, I couldn't be paranoid. I couldn't be too paranoid about his defense because I didn't want to end up losing to his offense, and that was the other part that scared me in this game. So yeah, just to quickly run down the team I have for this, all things considered, this was a pretty quick slap together team. I think I put together on a whim, not really on a whim, but the Mega Tyranitar is Rock Polish again with dual stab, Stone Edge, and Crunch, and then I have Superpower because it lets me hit the Crocodile and the Magnezone. I have my Tapu Lele is Calm Mind, 3 attacks with Life Orb, and I believe it has it's like modest max special attack, and then like enough defense for something on his team. I do not remember what the defense investment was for. Then my Hawlucha was SD Dual Stab, and then the last move was Defog. I didn't really need anything. I didn't need any coverage options on my on Hawlucha. Like, I could have went Throat Chop, but I put Defog just on the off chance he decided to bring webs on the Rabombi, and I wanted to have an out in terms of like getting rid of them. So quick hazard removal is always a good thing to have in the back. Then my Gliscor, I believe, is just a very straightforward Stealth Rock Roost EQ U-turn set. Then I have my Gengar, which I believe was Taunt, Dual Stab, and Destiny Bond. Just because I didn't really feel like I needed any other coverage options. And then lastly is my Durant, which is offensive with Hone Claws. I believe it's Hone Claws, Darkinium Z with Z Crunch for the H-Slash. And then I have X-Scissor plus Iron Head. Iron Head hits the Mega Altaria, X-Scissor for the Cresselia and the Crocodile. So you see the team my opponent ended up bringing. He brought the H-Slash, the Magnezone, Rabombi, Crocodile, Infernape, Manaphy. So his team is just screaming. He's just bringing offense for days in my face. No messing around. No Mega Altaria, no Cresselia, no Blissey. Thank the Lord. I mean, in retrospect, I did have a Gengar, which kind of walled it, but Shadow Ball, Blissey, who knows? Anyway, I'm not going to worry about what he didn't bring. In any case, I believe I'm going to lead off with my Gengar, just because I felt that it had the best matchup against everything except for a potential Choice Scarf Crocodile. And if you let off with Rabombi, I could just Sludge Wave that thing and bring it down to its Sash if he is a Sash variant of Rabombi. So I'm going to lead off with my Gengar here, and he's actually going to end up bleeding out with his Aegislash. So this was a weird turn one. I'm thinking, okay, there's two options for me. I can either Shadow Ball to a KO this thing, or I could potentially go for Destiny Bond and get rid of this Aegislash because it's the main thing preventing my Hawlucha from doing what it wanted to do. But hindsight is telling me to just click Shadow Ball and just take the damage and let the rest of my team take care of Aegislash afterwards. So that's what I ended up doing this turn. Clicking Shadow Ball here, do 67, revealing he's weakness policy. He's going to stance change and Shadow Claw and kill my Gengar. So not the turn one I had hoped for. Like, Gengar had so much use in this game, and that 50-50 ended up hurting me. I didn't think he would try to attack me turn one, yes, but hey, it is what it is. I got damage off on the Aegislash. That's all I can really ask for. So now I want to make the play out and go into my Durant, and predicting him to go for King's Shield here, I'm going to go for Hone Claws. Because he revealed he was Shadow Claw and not Shadow Ball, I felt more comfortable making this play because of the fact that unless he's running both, then props to him, then my Durant would have just straight up died because this is no bulk on this Durant. But I banked on him being a physical variant of Aegislash, judging by the fact that he had Shadow Claw, and I figured he would have Iron Head, King's Shield, and maybe Autotomize. I'm not entirely sure about his fourth move, but I am going to get the play right as he's going to King's Shield. I am going to click Hone Claws here, get my attack up, get my accuracy up, go for crunch here as I'm going to knock out the Aegis Slash with the crunch. In comes the Magna Zone here as I'm going to go for another crunch as he's going to reveal Choice Scarf and knock out by Duran. So, knowing that he is Choice Scarf, I'm just going to go out into my Tyranitar. He's going to go out to Crocodile. I Mega Evolve, click Rock Polish, and I'm just going to spam the crap out of Superpower because I have no reason not to. He's going to get up his rocks here as I'm now going to go for Superpower again as he makes the aggressive play out into his Infernape, knowing I would not click Stone Edge. So now I'm going to go out into my Gliscor here as he is going to go and double back into his Crocodile. I believe this was just more so the fact of trying to... I mean, I was a Rock Polish Tyranitar, so you're just trying to intimidate, get as much nerfs on my attack stat as possible. So I can't really blame him for that. So now here I'm just going to make the play, go for the slow U-turn here, but it actually turns out, after I activate my Toxic Orb, I'm faster than his Crocodile, which actually sucks because not only do I not get the momentum I had hoped for, he reveals he's Figgy Berry, and I basically just healed him with that turn. But in retrospect, I probably wouldn't have killed him anyway with any of my attacks because I'm -1. So I'm going to U-turn out here and I'm going to go out into my Tyranitar. Yeah. So I go T-Tar here just to try to sack it off here. He's actually going to go for the knockoff and try to knock off my Toxic Orb. I like to double back into Gliscor here, expecting him to want an Earthquake. But I'm going to now go out into my... He's not going to go into Rabombi. I get up my rocks. I am now going to sack off my I'm going to U-turn out on the Quiver Dance into my T-Tar. And this was a kind of a difficult turn because I didn't really want to make this play, but the other reason why I ended up doing it was the fact that this was one of his Zmons. I think he was like Rabombi and I want to say Infernape was the other one, but I think I'm wrong in that retrospect. So the way he's Quiver Dancing with Rabombi, I'm assuming this is like Farium Z. And I believe I EV'd my Tyranitar to live a Z Moonblast or something along those lines. Actually, I don't think I did. But at the very least, I wanted him to force the Z move on my T-Tar and not on my Gliscor, because I still kind of need Gliscor to check that Infernape. So if the Infernape is nasty plot, then what can I do? In any case, he is going to end up going for the Z move here, going for the Twinkle Tackle and knocking out my T-Tar, which is totally fine. I'm not going to go out into my Tapu Lele here, as I believe it's the only thing on my team that can take a hit from this, from the Rabombi. As I end up doing that, I go for Psy Shock, knock out the Rabombi with the Life Orb boosted. Psy Shock, back out comes the Magnet Zone as he revenge kills me with the Flash Cannon. But it does give me a free switch to my Hawlucha, get the special defense boost from the Psychic Seed, go for my SD, he goes for Flash Cannon, does 39, and now I'm just going to go for High Jump Kick and pray I didn't miss, and luckily I don't. So now he goes out into his Manaphy here, and I'm just going to go for Acrobatics and knock this thing out too. And I found that play a little bit weird. I was like, wait a minute, because he actually took a little bit longer with this turn. I'm like, okay, he should be going out into Crocodile and then doubling back into Manaphy. Because my thought process heading into this was, okay, if he goes Crocodile, then he doubles out into Manaphy, sacks that off, goes back into Crocodile, and essentially gets rid of my Sword Stance boost. And I'd be at neutral, and I can't knock out the Crocodile with High Jump Kick after the second Intimidate, because I'm assuming, because my Gliscor was faster, this is a max HP, max defense Crocodile, and I don't know if he had like Roar, Dragon Tail, whatever the case may be. But the fact that he sacked off Manaphy means that it's a little bit easier, but the Infernape is still looming in the back. And of course, it still comes down to the fact of me trying to hit a High Jump Kick. I could not risk Acrobatics, +1 Acrobatics, not killing a max HP, max defense Crocodile. And I don't even remember the calc. I know I looked it up afterwards, but in any case, I'm just going to go out. He's gonna go out to his crocodile and intimidate me. I could not risk acrobatics not killing. Luckily, I do hit the high jump kick to kill the crocodile, and that's going to be the game because he goes out to his Infernape. I go for acrobatics, knock out the Infernape, and that's going to be a 2-0 win in my favor. And yeah, it was a choice scarf Infernape with hidden power ice, which would have actually. I don't know if it wouldn't have killed my Gliscor, but I think it would have did enough to the point where after rocks it might have been in range, depending on his investment. But yeah, that was a very close game. Not gonna lie, it was a pretty fun one too. There wasn't really any hacks involved. Luckily for me, I did manage to hit all my high jump kicks in this game. I was very, very paranoid about that high jump kicks, all that stuff, because I knew if I missed one, I guaranteed lost the game for sure to that Infernape, or if not even the Infernape, the Manaphy, if he had went to the crocodile first. But yeah, that is going to be the first half of the CPC season for me. We finished the first half of the season going 5-0 on the season. Sorry about that. So yeah, I already matched my win total from all of season 7 of the CPC. And here's hoping the second half will go as well as the first half. So that's going to be it from me, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy. This is my first, like I said, it's been a while since I uploaded anything. I wanted to at least get something up on my channel just to show that I'm not, like, I haven't gone off the face of the earth or anything like that. But nonetheless, I hope you guys do enjoy the video. Hope you guys enjoy all these battles. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'm going to get the heck out of here because it's already been over an hour for this video. So until the next time, guys, this is Tone, signing out for now. Peace out.